Okay, so I have gone ahead and I tried to remove the edge, and it seems to be okay. I kind of feel like it might have discolored the paper underneath, but I'm not entirely sure yet. And I created a bit of mess because I tried to erase the paper marks. I should have done this before, really. But anyways, I'll take it as an experiment, and whatever comes out of it, I'll try to work with it. So let's try this Malto masking fluid marker, and as you can see, this one comes off no problem. So yeah, this one is easier to use if I have to do this again. So I changed my mind slightly in terms of Schminke watercolors, and I decided, because this has been an old masking fluid, that I'm not sure how it's going to behave, and also whether it has any chemicals in there that it might release after kind of, you know, best before date is well over many years ago probably. But also, by the way, it kind of has this weird smell, but I remember, and this is why actually I haven't used it much at all. I think I used it once when I bought it, maybe twice, and then for many years I didn't go back to it because the smell is very off-putting. It's got this very strong kind of like disgusting fishy smell. So I'm going, for that matter, use the Prima watercolors, the Tropicals and the Classics, just in case, like I said, if there is some sort of chemicals in this masking tape that might go into my Schminke watercolors and kind of, you know, create some damage or something. So I don't want to risk that, and that is why I'm going to use my cheaper watercolors for this case. I'm sorry that the plan has changed, but this is quite often what happens in art, and I think, you know, I could easily throw this out, but I'm actually now quite intrigued to go ahead and see what I can create, and it's kind of like a hazard that you have to get around. So let's go ahead and try to color this pineapple in. Okay, so I hope the lighting is still okay because it seems quite light on the camera, but it's actually super dark outside. So I barely have any light actually in my room at the moment, but it seems quite bright on the camera. So I hope it's good. So I have now finished the pineapple. And so as you have seen, I have used the watercolors from the Prima, and then in the end I kind of dropped this Hydrus watercolor, just a small drop on the Ranger craft mat, and I just use it straight from the mat. And this is why I love it, because look, I just you know, wipe it off with a tissue and there is no need to clean anything. It's so versatile and it's great to protect your desk. So yeah, I dropped the yellow in just to create that little bit more of an interest. And although in the book the pineapple is, let me just grab it and show it to you, the pineapple is a little bit on the orange, kind of reddish side, I decided to go with a classic color combination of the sort of yellowy orangey colors, and then here and there I just added a bit of this color right here, because just to create some shadowing, and it's a lovely color. It's like a crimson, like a deep pink color, and once it mixes with the oranges it becomes sort of reddish anyway. So I have to wait for the watercolor to dry now naturally, because like I said before, you can't use a heat gun, and this is very important, remember it, with masking tape, as it will make the masking tape melt, and then possibly you know, you'll have problems taking it off the paper. So as a first as this was first time, I'm okay with it, but in hindsight I'd like to have more kind of less of the white between these parts. I'm quite happy with the green, how it came out, but the pineapple, it's still quite cool. It has that sort of illustrative look about it, and I think it would look really nice as a little tip-in in my insert. So I will wait for it to dry, and then I will show you how I'm going to do the tip-in. Okay, so I've given it a long time to dry, and it should be dry now. So I'm going to use my pen tool click eraser. So I find it easier because you just hold it as a pencil or pen, and I'm just going to go all the way around. So sometimes you can lift it if you applied it really thick and just pull it off as well. And that should, the masking tape should give you that crisp, kind of clean look. So I can't see any problems with this masking tape, because I was worried that it's so old that it might have gone off, but doesn't seem to be giving me any issues. So I don't think there's any need for me to throw it out. I can use it. So it looks quite neat actually. I do like this technique. Also be careful if you have some watercolor on top of this masking fluid, and if you're going to touch it with your eraser and then go onto paper afterwards, it might transfer like I've done here. So be careful with that. I like to apply it nice and thick where I can, so I just can pull it off. And that's the best option for me. So where I have pencil left, I'm not sure what's causing the issue, because it's actually, I thought it was dry. Maybe it's not fully dry yet, but I just smudged a little bit of watercolor here. So yeah, probably would need to wait a bit longer just to dry it a touch a little more, but this area for sure is dry, so I'm just going to go around these bits and try to raise the pencil where I can. That is best to do before applying the masking fluid. I just have no patience to wait, and then I end up quite often messing it up. But as a first trial, I'm okay with this anyway. If it looks a little bit messy, I'm trying to learn how to let it go and kind of just embrace the art without being too precise. Okay, so where there is a little bit of wet paint, to be super careful. So this is it. It looks super neat, so I'm going to go ahead now and do a tip-in. Okay, so I have gone ahead and cut the paper slightly more, so to make it a bit more thinner, and also on the corner here I had the little marks from the masking fluid when I was trying it out, so I thought I'll just cut it to size, and I left slightly a little bit more space on this side because I'm going to tip it in. So once I put the masking tape over, it will be sort of the same thickness. And also using my Lamy Safari in fine, I have added this little, just kind of, you know, just sort of a little bit something to the illustration to make it look a little bit more finished, and I like that. It's just pineapple written in a kind of in a different way, separating two words, and that's it really. So I could do tip-in right in the middle here and then have a normal page beneath for journaling, but I think today I feel like tipping it in right in the middle and then journaling right underneath it, so it's kind of, you don't see it behind it, but once you lift it, the journaling will be revealed. So I think that's what I'm going to do. So I have a variety of washi, which I thought I could go with a more neutral kind of color. So this, all of these are empty. I could go, this is pastel brown, I think. I really like that color. I could go with something green to pick up the green foliage of the pineapple, something a little bit more summery, which is this salmon pink. But I decided in the end to go with something a little bit more fun. This is this kind of coral orangey kind of color with polka dot design, and I really like it. So I'm going to cut a straight edge because this is not, so it looks better when it's straight. And then I'm going to basically, there are different ways of doing it, but you can do whichever way you want. I want my design to look like this, so I'm going to, I will have to do it like that. So roughly in the middle. If it's not straight, you can always correct it, so it's not the end of the world. That's the great thing about most washes. Some washes actually tend to damage the paper when you lift it, but not all of them. So this is roughly straight, so I'm quite happy with it. And I'm going to now cut off the edges like this, and then look at it straight on, and that would be roughly here, and that's done on one side. And then you do the same thing on the other side like that, and so now it's tipped in to both sides. But keep in mind that the river paper, Tomoe river paper, is a lot more fragile than other papers, so you have to be quite careful with it. So this is it, this is my tip-in, and it looks lovely. So the journaling will go right behind it. I hope you found this useful and it will inspire you to use watercolors for your inserts and still be able to use high quality watercolor paper and, you know, have a little bit of your art in your TN. Thanks for watching and see you soon.